All right. Greetings, Justina. I'm glad to be talking about this.
I love
You are one of the leaders out here on this mission. So, pleasure to have you. And we're gonna give the people what they want. A lot of people are really curious about this 6 month sewing, system. So we're gonna talk a lot about that, talk a lot about you, how you got here. So we can just start. We can start by you introducing yourself. Name, how long you been a hairstylist, what made you get into it, family, all that good stuff.
Okay. So my name is Justina Glover. I am a wife and a mother. My son is 14 years old. I've been in the industry licensed for about 16 years, but I've been doing hair pretty much my whole life.
Mhm.
I've been around the industry since I was very young. My aunt taught me and my sisters how to braid when I was about 8 years old. Um, my sisters started taking clients before I did, and they would just use me as like to braid down their individuals. So they'll start the braids and I will finish them when I was like 8 or 9. And then I met a friend in middle school and she taught me how to cornrow. And so I kind of just used that as like my little tool to make a little extra money. I grew up in Compton. We did not have much, and so I just used that talent I would braid my teacher's hair, I would braid my friend's hair, everybody in the neighborhood. My house was like that open door, everybody come get their hair braided at my house. So
I love it.
that was like from middle school going into high school. Then I got a regular job at like 16, and I realized that after 2 weeks, I got my paycheck, and I was like, okay, so what I just made in 2 weeks, I could have made on one client. So, so I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So I quit, and I went and got a job as an assistant in my bonus mom's salon, and I didn't really think that I was going to make this a career. But when I graduated from high school, she actually went and enrolled me in cosmetology school. And she was like, this is your orientation day. Here, go.
Hmm,
And I went and I have never looked back.
interesting. We got a similar story. I didn't know that. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're in the hair industry and you run across the Abracadabra 6 month sewing. Now, as a person that created this, and been rejected for so long, like I always wanted to know what was going on in your brain when you came across this system. Or let's start here. Where were you before you came across this system? Like, where were you in your career? You obviously been in it for quite some time. Where were you mentally, physically, emotionally, financially before running across the 6 month sewing system?
Okay, so I started doing hair in California, and then when I got married, I moved here to Houston. When I was in California, I did a lot of sew-ins already.
Mhm.
But moving to Texas, I kind of just fell into this silk press braiding mode. So that's like what I started getting clients for. So I was doing tons and tons of silk presses and I was doing a lot of braiding. I was doing at least 12 to like 14 clients a day. So I was busy, I was booked, I was busy, I was making money, but I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was like getting up in the morning. I think I would start work at like my son started school at 7:30. I would drop him off. I'll be at work at 8. I would take a break, go pick him up, and go right back to work. I was working till 8 or 9 o'clock every single day. I was tired. And then in Texas, silk presses are kind of seasonal because our weather is so crazy. So in the summertime, I had to braid. And so all summer I would braid and braid and braid. But since, like I said, I've been braiding since I was 8 years old and it became painful. And so it's like my hands are hurting. I'm cramping up. I can barely hold my phone at the end of the day. But I was almost stuck because I had all these clients that wanted these things from me. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I miss doing sew ins. I'm like, when I was in California, I didn't do all of this. I did sew in. So I had just start talking to myself like, okay, I have to make a change. I have to make a change. And I didn't want to learn something new per se. I wanted to be able to make a change in a field of something that I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw your ad come up on Instagram, it was like almost like a prayer being answered. I was like, oh no, I'm doing this. This is it.
You didn't have any reservations. Like 6 months? Like, what was your reservation?
I really didn't because I did so many sew-ins and I grew so many people hair out through sew-ins. My only thing was I didn't know that I could leave them in for so long. So I was just like telling my clients, okay, we have to after 3 months we have to take them out and we have to do it again. So my thing was just like, well, tell me how. How can we keep it in for 6 months? I didn't think it could not be done. I just wanted to know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's amazing
Yeah.
how, like, it's amazing how alignment works and divinity works because majority of hairstylists is like, no, you know, daggone well, you can't keep that in for 6 months without even being open to the idea that it got to be possible because I'm looking at it with my own eyes right here, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, okay, all right. So the program was obviously an investment. You know how, especially hairstylists, you know, I would say a lot of entrepreneurs don't really have the motivation to invest in themselves. They don't understand how important that is. So this was an investment. So obviously you saw it, you were like, oh, I want to do it. When you found out how much it was, did anything discourage you, or did you have a vision in your mind of what you were going to do with it and you saw it working and that really just kind of took away from the scary part of investing?
Yeah, no, I do understand. I went a long time without taking any courses because I feel like at the beginning of my career, I took a lot. I was just, just soaking up information and education. But I did for a long time, just was like, I'm not doing that anymore. People are just trying to take your money, blah, blah, blah. Right. But when I seen that, because I had already really wanted to get back into the sew-in realm, um, I think you were running two ads on Instagram, and one of them was the closure. You were showing that the closure can be sewn down, not glued, and not moved for 3 months. So I saved it. So, when you save it, then Instagram is gonna keep bringing it up and bringing it up. So I saved it because at that time I was doing the closures. I was gluing them, and I was using a band, the elastic band. My clients hated it. It wasn't lasting. It just was bad. So I was like, okay, well, I need to learn how to do that. Then I saw you post something about your 3 month retouch. And it was a video of you, and you had like this much regrowth in the front. And you was like, watch, I'm about to I'm about to retouch it. And that braid or whatever was back close to the scalp. And I'm like, hold up, how'd she do that? So knowing me, I went on your page and I was really trying to focus. I'm like, I'm skimming. I'm trying to see if I could figure it out myself because that's how my mind works. Like, so she can't be doing something, nothing like too new, too crazy. But when I saw the 3 month retouch, it was just like, okay, I have to invest. I have to figure out what this is. And before I did the one-on-one with I forget who I met with, I just prayed about it. And I was just like, you know where I'm at right now. You know where I need to be and where I want to be. And I kind of did like a prayer where it's like, if this thing will be answered in my consultation, then I know that this is for me.
Mhm.
And so I think it was how you get clients. Um, I just didn't know if I was, when you take classes, you learn something new, but you don't know if anybody's going to even want to do it. How are you going to get the people? So the fact that you also offered that you would help get clients too, when I didn't know if that was real or not. But in the consultation, when I realized that that was really something that you offered, that was my answer to my prayer. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it.
No brainer, right? It's like, why wouldn't
Yeah,
I? Right. Okay. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. So you get into the 6 month sewing system, you're embodying it, you're mastering it, you're learning it. And one of the things that I've always battled with, not battled, but I have gotten over the years is that, okay, that's not healthy. That is not healthy to do, right? Now, this is coming from
Mhm.
people who obviously have never done it, so they don't know.
Right.
So, what do you say to people who feel like that is not healthy? Because I'm sure you ran into it, or or you ran into some type of resistance. But in terms of the healthy part, what experience have you been having with your clients? Like in your mind, have you just accepted the fact that no, this is a healthy process? Because I've seen it, I've done it, you know. So what's been your experience like with clients with it?
I think because even when I was doing the silk presses and I was doing braids, I focused so much on healthy hair. I was still growing out a lot of my clients' hair through those styles. So I think when I even introduced this to my clients, they just didn't doubt me. They knew that I wasn't going to do anything that was not healthy. They trusted me already enough to know that anything that I was investing in, anything that I was learning, I'm not going to bring anything to them that is not going to benefit them. And so that's why even now, well, even at the beginning when I was learning, I was able to get 10 people to try it. I had 10 of my clients and I'm like, hey, I'm learning this new system. Do you want to be a model? And they all said yes, like with no questions asked, because they knew me, they knew my character, they knew that I wasn't going to do anything that was going to hurt their hair. So I really have not ran into a lot of naysayers, honestly.
That's good. And
Yeah.
that's really a blessing because, like I said, being a pioneer, creating something that like people just don't know. They have
Yeah.
no idea what this is, what this is about. They haven't seen it, they haven't heard about it. You know, you run into a lot of naysayers, right? But I've done the work so much um to position for people to trust it, you know, now. And then
Hmm.
like with you guys coming in and now you got in your we're at the point now where it's really really can't deny it. So it's at the point now where
Right.
if there's a naysayer pop up, you know, you got people coming from left to right, like, no, this okay, you must be new because this has been going on. You know what I mean? So
Right. Right.
that really is a blessing. So how many clients have you done this on? So, I mean, you probably can't count, but if you have to guess, how many clients have you done this on, and how many of them like have gotten results?
Okay. So no, I went back and I counted.
You did? Okay.
I did. I did. I started in 2023. I started in 23. I have done 109 installs so far. Yes.
What?
And I would say
Oh my goodness.
when I was looking, I did 53 last year. And so far this year, I've already done like 35 of them this year.
Wow. Wow. And like,
Yeah.
how does it feel? Because I see that feeling, like I sense that feeling with you that I used to have, you know, like the feeling when you have a client here that more than likely didn't even believe it was possible for their hair to get to a certain length. Like, do you feel like a
Yeah.
fairy godmother? Like a fairy hair, like what do you feel when you
Yeah.
experience?
I do. It is excitement, and it's joy because like you said, many like I feel like in the past few years, Black women have really gotten into trying to grow their hair, and I think as a hairstylist, sometimes we think what is common knowledge just isn't. So even like through these consultations, and I'm hearing my clients' pain points and how they can't get over certain obstacles to grow their hair, and now they're trusting me, to be able to do that. It gives me a sense of like accomplishment, but it's also like a duty. Like I want to make sure that I deliver for them, so I take this very seriously because as Black women, our hair is so important to us, and I feel like our hair is so um like not a lot of people understand it and different things like that. So I just really feel like it's important for me to really deliver these results to them because a lot of them are really coming in as their last resort and they're tired. They tired of spending their money. They tired of wasting their money. And I just don't want them to feel like I was another waste. I want to be the success that they're looking for. I want to be on the other side of the success with them.
That is beautiful. I love that. So okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know, out of 1,000 people, let's just, even 100 out of 100 people, there may be five that it doesn't work for.
Mhm.
Now in your experience, I may be, there may be, for me, I would say out of 100 people, maybe two people, maybe they have extreme alopecia, or maybe something goes on within them, that doesn't get the results that we are both looking for. It may get something, but not everything, or maybe something happens internally to where it kind of affects the expectations of the system. Have you
Hmm.
ran across that? Because you got those people that say, it can't be perfect. Like, what is, it's got to be something that's not working, and it may not necessarily be the system itself. So that's kind of what
Hmm.
I want to make sure, because it can't work on 98 people and then two people it doesn't work on. So what is it about those two people that we may have ran into an issue that's beyond the system itself? So what can you say about that in your experience with a couple customers that it may not have worked for?
Realistically, a lot of the times, it is their own expectations. It's not that they didn't get results. I think a lot of times it's they didn't get the results they thought they were gonna get. So what I have now made a conscious effort to do in the consultation is to be very realistic with our expectations so that we both are on the same page of where your hair is now and where we can possibly get your hair in 6 months. Because sometimes they may think like, oh my God, my hair is just gonna go from air length to the middle of my back in 6 months. And then when it doesn't, they're just like, it didn't work. And no, it did work, but we just need to be realistic with your expectations. So that's number one. Number two, sometimes I have clients who don't follow the regimen. They don't come in for their shampoos, they don't come in for their maintenances, and then they try to remove it themselves, which is yes. Right. So that's another reason why I've seen some not have the results that they want. Not leaving it in the full time, like getting like anxious. And it's like at 4 months, oh, I want to take it out. Oh, I want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like deflated because it's like, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be. And then, like you said too, sometimes it is hormonal things, and sometimes we need to go do blood work, or it may be something else that needs to be fixed outside of the system that I can't do, that the system can't fix. So those are really the main, and it does not happen often. I will say it doesn't happen often, but the few times, those were some of the reasons why.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I've had that person that wanted to take it out at 4 months, and I'm like, trust, because obviously when your hair grows, it gets old. Like, it feels better when it's freshed up, but if they never experienced the retouch process,
Hmm.
that they have no idea what's about to happen. So what's been your experience with the retouch process? How do people feel like the first time they're coming in? It may not look crazy, but it doesn't look new and fresh either, and they have no idea what's about to happen. And when you're done and it looked like it did the very first day they got it done and you didn't take it out, what's have been the reaction with that with some clients?
I mean, amazement, and honestly, it's still to me, and I do this. It still amazes me sometimes. I'll do the system, and I'm like, man, Abra was cold for this one. Like, I don't know how she thought this. And I'm literally doing it. I'm just like, oh yeah, like she did her big one with this. So it's something that of course they've never experienced, they've never seen before, and they're in awe. Like, wow. Like when I tell them in the consultation at 3 months your someone will feel like new. I don't think they believe me when I say that, but it's gonna feel like new after 3 months.
Yeah, it's like magical, right? It's,
It really
I can
is.
remember having, like, I can't believe I just did that. Like, 'cause some of them
Yeah.
be like, can I say this? Can I say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so you mentioned the consultation list. So let's talk about that. Is the Abracadabra 6 month sewing system something you could just come in and get? Like, why is the consultation important? And you kind of mentioned a few things about that, but maybe you can go a little deeper. Like, some people think they can
Um,
show up without a consultation and get this sewing. Why do they need the consultation?
like I said, because it has so many variables and because it's so different from a traditional sew-in, we just both need to be on the same page. I need to explain the whole process to you. I need to explain to you why this is different from a 6 month sew-in. I need to explain to you why we're not we're only shampooing every 6 weeks. I just need to explain the whole regimen with you. I need to understand what you want your sewing to look like. I need to know what bundles you want, what color you want. It's just so many things that need to be talked about. And at the beginning, I did have a couple times where I let a client slide without having a consultation, and it was always bad. It was, it never worked. We
Yeah.
were never on the same page, so I just made it become a non-negotiable. I think at the beginning you're excited and you're like, oh, somebody wants to get it. And then they're like, well, I don't want to do the consultation. Well, then you don't want the sew in then.
Mhm.
Because now it's a non-negotiable, because I don't want you feeling like you didn't understand, or even, like if you don't end up getting the results you wanted because you didn't follow the regimen. If you didn't have the consultation, you're not going to know what the regimen is. You don't know when to come in for your retouches and
Mhm.
things like that. So it's just a non-negotiable. It's just too important. There's too
Yeah.
many things we need to talk about beforehand.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's an investment, it's a commitment. You're gonna wear this for 6 months. I need to make
Hmm.
sure you understand that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So no, that makes sense. All right, so um, a lot of times when we're talking about the 6 months sewing, people are always confused. I see people in comments like, no, that it's not 6 months, back to back. They take it out and then they do the 6 months, and then you go and tell them, no, it's 6 months back to back. Then they're like, well, how does that work? Are you shampooing? So um how do clients when clients are coming in, so they're wearing a sewing, they're more than likely going about 6 weeks, they're coming in, what is it their response to the shampoo part of it, considering most people a lot of times think that that's not what's happening, right? Why is the shampoo
Yeah.
important, and how are your clients responding when they come in and actually get it shampooed?
Well, I will say, when I'm in the consultation and I tell them you're only shampooing every 6 weeks, their face always changes. Like, what? Like, I'm used to shampooing like this. I'm used to doing this, and I'm like, no, we need to utilize your sebum, your oils. Like, there's so many things that need to be done. So no, we're only going to shampoo every 6 weeks. So then once I get them to trust me on that, and that their hair not going to be dry and it's not going to stink and it's not going to do all of that, when I do their shampoo, I try to make it a whole situation. Like, you've been to my salon. I have the flowers on the ceiling. I have the spa music. I turn the lights down. I turn the steamer on, and I just try to make it like a spa. Take a applicator bottle, and I put antiseptic in there. I put shampoo with different organic ingredients in there, and I really get in there and I cleanse their scalp. It's not just a light, I'm not just cleaning the extensions. I'm really getting in there and I'm cleansing their scalp, and I'm prepping their scalp to be able to go another 6 weeks without the shampoo. I condition their hair. I let it sit, and while the conditioner's on, I give them a scalp massage. I just massage around their temples, behind their ears. I just try to make it a really good experience for them. Now it's to the point where my clients come in and they're like, "Ooh, my favorite part! I can't wait!" Like, they're ready, they're ready for that shampoo part. My shampoos last like about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not quick. Like, I really want to really get in there and cleanse your scalp, and because I do it that way before the install and throughout the install, I have not had not one person say that it's too itchy and that their scalp is itching and that it's dirty, or none of that, because it's being properly cleansed throughout the whole system.
Yep, that was the question. That was something I was about to follow up with. Like, most people would assume it. I know it's itchy. Like, people think, oh, I'm gonna feel like worms crawling in my head. But
Yeah.
the type of regimen that you have, high um cleansing regimen that you have plays a humongous role. The products and shampoos and antiseptics and all those things do play a role.
Yeah.
So most people don't experience itchiness in this. Well,
No.
they have an itch here, itch there, but no,
Right. And we have
oh,
the scalp soother for that, for your, like, isolated areas where you're
yes,
itching. But no, no one is like calling like, "Hey, take this out. It like I can't take it," you know. And I will say, before I learned this system, when I was doing traditional sewing, everybody spoke about how their hair was so itchy because I didn't know, I didn't have the proper shampoos and conditioners. I didn't know to get inside of there with the applicator bottle. So that's just a testament to your course. Like I learned so much, you know, that I was able to, I thought I was doing really good sew-ins and things like that beforehand, but I was able to take it to the next level, and my clients appreciate it.
Beautiful. Love it. So it takes a special kind of hair pro to remove a 6 month sewing now. Okay. It's a very
Hmm.
important
Hmm.
component of this process. It's like the it factor. Like this is it. Like clients are, waiting for their reveal. You can't mess, you can't mess this up. So um how what would you say about that 6 month removal part? Like, is it something, what's going through your head like when you're doing it? Like, just, honest opinion, like what's going on with it? How do you feel about it? How does it usually work out? Yeah, but with that process, because that's an important process. And clients want to know, like, how does that work? So yeah.
Yeah. I will say I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I still get scared every removal. I'm not gonna lie. I do. I do. I still be like, "Ooh, my goodness, am I gonna be able to take this out?" Even though I know I can, but it's just still something that crosses my mind every time. I think I have a little bit of nervous energy before every removal, but I just have to stress how important it is to just take your time. It's not a fast, like the removal is not fast. And I really have to, I mean, and because of the way that the install is even put in to begin with, them stitches is locked. They are, that sewing is in there. I've had so many people at 6 months like, "Hey, can I go another month? I got a trip coming up. Can I just keep it one more month?" Because it's not moving, like it's growing, but it's in there. So, number one, I just have to just breathe and say, "Okay, we about to do this." And I just take my time as I'm detangling. I make sure that there is like so much slippage on the hair to make sure that I'm not pulling anything, or I rarely even use like the teeth part of the comb throughout the removal. I'm literally finger detangling. I'm pulling things apart with my hands. I'm using the pick part of the comb, just really just trying to get all that excess shedded hair out, to make sure that once it's time to go to the shampoo bowl, if any of that extra hair is still in there, it will just mat up once the water hits it. So I just really just take my time, and I just pick at it and get all of that hair out. But I always like go and look at, after I take out like some of the back, or once I start taking it, I'll go back and I'll look at their before picture even before I'm done, and I'm like, "Ooh, she did good." So it's like, so then I get excited. I'm like, "Okay, yes.
Mhm.
Oh, their hair did so good." So now I'm excited and I'm ready to show them. I want to like really blow dry their hair really, really straight and make sure that it looks good and presentable. And one thing I always like to point out is that I'm not really trimming in between these times. I trim their hair before their install, but because it's not being manipulated for 6 months, I don't have to trim their hair again. I may have to dust the ends a little bit, but you're not getting a trim after your 6 months. There's no need to. Your ends are going to be 100% still intact, and that's the key. And so that's why if someone tries to take it out themselves, and I'm like, "Okay," but the key is taking your time and really like slowly removing it, so that all of that work that we did within that 6 month is not null and void. Like if the removal is the most important part. It has to be done right.
Yeah, no, that is it's the most important piece. You could really go wrong with that, and then you invested all this money, and then it's
Yeah.
on the way. So, okay, so yeah, this is not for the meek. This is not for the meek. This is
Hmm.
and this is you're invested in each and one of your clients' process in a different way. You know what I mean? Than you were, before, So, how what's the emotion? Because the big part of this process is the hair growth piece. So,
Hmm.
what emotion do you experience or do your clients experience when they see the results? Like when they see, okay, the hair growth results, like what emotions do you have? Usually.
I mean, for me, I'm always excited. And to like you said, throughout the consultation, I know where their pain points are. So I'm always excited to see their hair get past where they thought it could have ever been or anything like that. Like to really be able to deliver what they're asking for brings me joy. And even for them, having clients like my hair has never touched my shoulders, or having clients cry in my chair, or I had a client who mom had passed not too long ago. And she just cried. She's like, my mama would have loved my hair. My mama would have loved to see my hair. My mom never saw my hair this long, So it's personal. It's not just a sew in. This is a personal journey that each individual person decides to take for a different reason. And so that's why I do take it so personally. And then I really try to do my best to deliver on my end because I know that it took courage for a person to say, okay, I want to try this someone for 6 months. I'm gonna take a leap of faith because it is a leap of faith. I want to see if it's gonna work for me. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing my job in order to help them get their goals, their hair length goals.
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so where is your life now? Like, how different does it look now compared to before? And, I may have asked you this in the beginning. Did you visualize it this way before running into this system? Like, did you literally visualize your life and your position and your authority in the sewing, the hair growth space? Like, did you visualize that before running into the system? Like, is
Um,
compare what's what's the polarity between your life before and now?
um, I didn't visualize it being like this. I didn't know it could be like this. Honestly, I didn't. Even when I saw the sew in, I did it just looking for another round to be in instead of doing silk presses. But the financial gain has been really great too, And so like I said, I now no longer have to do 12 to 14 people a day anymore, and I can still bring in the same amount of money, which is amazing for me. So now I'm just able to be present. I think that that's the main thing that I'm present. I'm here now. Whereas before I was in that hamster wheel. I was just going, 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 going. I'm just bumping and curling, bumping and curling. And I'm just like, I was tired. And so now I sleep in. I sleep in. I don't start work till 10:30. I've never done that before. And I'm home by 7. I'm like, no, I take my last person at 4:30. I have like boundaries in my business now. And I think at first it was hard for me because I did, you know, trying to change over, you're gonna lose people, right? So I think I went through that almost depression of like having people not want to go this route with me, so they leave me. And it's like, oh my God, I've been doing your hair for so long. How dare you leave me? But then now that it has come full circle, it's just like this was just how it was supposed to be. And so yeah, no, I'm just present. I feel like that would be, and I feel like I have to sometimes just remind myself to like stay in this space because I'm a busybody, because I've always had to hustle, and because I've always struggled. If struggle feels natural, and so when you're not struggling, you feel like you're doing something wrong, you know. And so I feel like for me, I have to like constantly remind myself, stay in this space. It's okay to be calm. It's okay to have peace in your life. It doesn't have to be crazy all the time. And just to remind myself, like, this is what you worked for. This is what you prayed for. This is like, you are not getting nothing handed to you. You put your head down and you did the work. So now this is the fruits of your labor. So just live in it, and it's okay to be peaceful. And so that's where I'm at now, just trying to just stay in that space. Like, it's okay, girl, you did this.
I love it. Are you
Yeah.
surprised the clients that you receive like from the system? Like, are you, has that ever been shocking to you? The fact that, there's this expansive amount of people that are interested in the system. And if they're in Houston, they come see me.
Yeah.
Has that been like surprising to you? And
It's still surprising to me. Every time I post something and I get a consultation, I'm like, this is really crazy. And the fact that people fly to me, people come from out of town to come see me. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to put it in my schedule, or I'm just going to do this. And I'm like, what?
wow,
But yeah, it's still mind blowing to me. And I've been doing it for 3 years, but every year it gets better. I feel like every year I get better at the system. I'm getting better and better results. And it's just like every year it's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm thankful every day that that ad came across my Instagram. I'm like, yes, this is this is what I needed for sure.
is there anything else you would like to say to whoever's watching about you, about your path, about your vision, about the system before we close?
Um, if I would just like to speak to that stylist out there that's hamster wheel and who feels like they can't make any changes in their life because their clients are stuck doing this one thing, but you want to do something different. You just really have to take that leap of faith and just be okay with them leaving because they probably will, but just know that it will be refilled with something better. Like, that's what I would want to speak to that stylist that's looking to make a change in their business. It's possible. It's scary, but you can do it.
I love that. And that's really important. And I mean, the ones who have made the transition and feel more aligned and feel like, they gotten on the other side of that hamster wheel had to do that, had to do it scared.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
and it ends up being worth it in the end. You just have to surrender to the process. Um,
yeah,
so beautiful. I love that. Well, I'm thankful you were chosen to be a part of this movement. It's not for everybody. It's not for the meek. It's not for everybody. But you have really been embodying it. Like, you speak well. You can tell you have a passion for it. Your clients always look beautiful. So I'm thankful that you believed in this process enough to invest in it and embody it the way that you do. Because even somebody may come in and they may not embody it like that, in the way that you do. And
yeah,
everybody's different. Some embody it, some just kind of, that everybody's different, right? So it's
yeah,
good to see, the results of you trusting the process and seeing where it's going and seeing how you have hundreds of, hair growth testimonies on your own. So just imagine if this thing just keeps going and, more students like you, and there's a ton of you guys creating your own results. So just keep creating those results where this would be in 5 years, 10 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm definitely excited. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you,
if you guys
Abra.
need
Thank
somebody
you.
in Houston, if you need somebody in
Yes.
Houston, the dollhouse is your girl. This is just
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much again, Abra, for everything, for opening up this opportunity for all of us. It's a blessing, and I thank you for that.
my pleasure. My pleasure. All right. Have a good evening. It's morning here, but it's evening there. So have a good evening.
Yes, ma'am. All righty. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.